Welcome back to the show, everyone. Thank you again for joining me again this week on another great episode as we discover or try to discover and explain, like Indiana Jones, what happened to the Ark of the Covenant that we hear so much about in the Old Testament. And that's today's topic on show 149, as I will do my best to gather up the notes and research I have found on what happened to the Ark of the Covenant, and maybe as a bonus, we'll kind of dive a little bit into the new Ark of the Covenant. So, whatever happened to the Ark of the Covenant? Well, again, there are many theories, like a lot of things from ancient. It's not, I mean, it's ancient, we might say, but a long time ago. There's different theories. If you're looking back into World War II, World War One, there's whenever you have a very important content or topic or something that really happened in history, most likely is you're going to have a lot of different theories and a lot of different claims as to people who know what happened, or all that stuff, to make to make to make sense of it. But again, what happened to the Ark of the Covenant that we hear so much about in, like I said, in the Old Testament? So, again, there's a lot of different theories, and I'll do my best. But again, just a little bit about the Ark. The Ark was, made of, I believe it was acacia wood. It was 4 by 2 feet, so 4 feet long, 2 feet wide. It was carried by, of course, the Israelites, and each tribe of the Israelites, if you remember, they each had, when they're walking through the desert, they each had their own duty. They each had their own thing. So, not everyone could carry or be next to the Ark of the Covenant. And why? Because actually it could kill. One of the Israelites, it was across the river or something, I believe, and the Ark of the Covenant was kind of lean. So one of the guys thought, I gotta, save it from hitting. So he touched it and he immediately died. So it's like the electric shock, basically. Again, this is the house. This is where God is dwelling. This is where God, it's like a church in the tabernacle. It's where God is. This is where God is. So again, one person touched it, he died. So again, no one could really touch it no one could be even around it besides the Levites. The priests who were responsible for carrying it and also just being kind of closest to it. So again, it's 4 feet long, 2 feet wide. It's made of, let's say, acacia wood and gold. If you see pictures of it, like on the thumbnail that we have on our YouTube channel and other places, is 2 angels on the foot. They're facing each other, and that kind of represents, I guess, or close to it, the throne of God. So again, it's this is where God is dwelling. This is where, this is like a tabernacle. This is where God is dwelling. So 2 angels on the sides. So I thought it was kind of cool, but yeah, it's again 2 angels on the sides, and again they carry around through the desert wanderings and through the exile, and basically, it went from place to place for years, and it didn't really have a very good safekeeping for it, because it was, they were basically tents. It's like, basically, I don't mean to put this lightly on the exile, but it's like backpacking. You will bring a tent with you, and that's what you stay in. It's nothing really fancy. It's nothing really probably great when it's raining, but it's something that keeps you a little bit out of the elements, and that's what they did. So again, of course, the Ark of the Covenant was in the big temple in Jerusalem, which again, there's only like one temple, and everyone came to it, and so it's basically like if you had one church let's take up your diocese for example, okay? And this is still, I mean, one church. If we had one church, I guess, someplace, and you all went to it. I mean, that's what it was, and that's where the Ark of the Covenant was. It was in the temple area, where people could go and worship, pray. But again, there was just lots of claims and lots of theories as to what actually happened to the Ark of the Covenant, because again, it basically just it kind of went off scripture. It kind of went off no one record. But record is almost a really good way of saying it too. Is it just kind of went off the record. No one. It's not really mentioning after a specific time period. It's lost. So where did it go? Of course, I mean, for Catholics and non-Catholics alike, it's kind of like, well, yeah, where did it go? And there's a couple of theories. I mean, I do want to share this article from You Catholic that I found before, and some of them have been the same ones that I've written down from taking notes and stuff from other things as well. So, I mean, whatever happened to the Ark of the Covenant by George Warren? Pretty short article. When Moses returned from Mount Sinai to see the Israelites, he had with them the Ten Commandments. However, the Ten Commandments were not all that God had given to Moses on the mountain. He also received instructions on how to have his laborers construct the Ark of the Covenant. What happened to the Ark of the Covenant, and where is it today? According to Scripture, we know the Ark of the Covenant was constructed and placed inside where the tablets of stone which the Ten Commandments were inscribed, Aaron's staff, and a jar of manna. So again, it contained quite a few things as well, like Ten Commandments, the Aaron's staff, and some jar that the manna, which the Israelites, which God is sending down from the heavens to feed the Israelites in the desert. Hebrews chapter 9 verse 4, it says, in it were the gold jar containing the manna, the staff of Aaron that he had exalted, and the tablets of the covenant. During the construction of Solomon's temple, the Holy of Holies was prepared inside to house the ark. It remained there until one king, Jehoshaphat of Judah's predecessors, had it removed. The final mention of the Ark of the Covenant whereabouts in Scripture, let's say on the record, it comes in the 18th year of King Jehoshaphat of Judah's reign in 627 BC, when he ordered the caretakers of the Ark of the Covenant to return to the second temple in Jerusalem. He said to the Levites who were to instruct all Israel and who were consecrated to the Lord, put the holy ark in the house built by Solomon, son of David, king of Israel. It shall no longer be a burden on your shoulders. Serve now the Lord your God and his people Israel. 2 Chronicles chapter 35, verse 3. 14 years later, King Nazariah of Babylon led his second siege of Jerusalem. The Babylonians sacked Jerusalem and destroyed Solomon's temple. Neither the Book of Kings nor the Book of Chronicles mention what became of the ark following the Babylonian attack. An ancient Greek version of the biblical authority Book of Ezra suggests that Babylonians took away the vessels of the Ark of the Covenant, but not mention taking away the Ark itself. Which again it's I mean, that's scripture, so you don't want to go against it, but you think, okay, well, if I took away the vessels of the ark, how did they not take away the ark itself? Because if you take away the vessels, you would probably die, because you would be close to touching it still. But again, that's in scripture. And from first book Esdras, chapter 1, verse 54, and they took other holy vessels of the Lord, both great and small, and the vessels of the ark of God, and the king's treasures, and carried them away into Babylon. Which, again, the people that I really kind of hold that they don't really believe that. So, this account contracts the actions of the prophet Jeremiah, though, too. Like, here we go. This is why is who said to have received a divine message just prior to the Babylonian invasion to take the tabernacle and the ark to Mount Nebo. There he placed the two within a cave. So it could be in a cave. Sealed it and said to those trying to find it that its location would only be revealed when God again gathers his people. So at the end of the time, that's when it's going to be revealed. In a cave? Again, some people don't necessarily think that. There's some claims, but it's kind of it really comes down to a personal perspective, maybe too, about where it's at. When Jeremiah arrived there, he found a chamber in a cave, in which he put the tent, the ark, and the altar of incense. Then he sealed the entrance. The place is to remain unknown until God gathers his people together again and shows them mercy. That's from 2 Maccabees chapter 2, 5, verse 7. So where is the ark today? Many theories have put forth by those claiming to have the real ark in their possession. Many countries actually have claimed that they have the ark. The other ones, they even kind of brag about that the other ones that took the ark, and now they have it in their homeland. The ark was, again, some have claimed the ark was buried underneath the Temple Mount, which, according to the Catholic Talk Show, which is where some of the, a good source I kind of got notes on too, is that's probably the most ideal. That's probably the most expected. Underneath the temple in Jerusalem, before Nazarbaye's men could find it, the Ethiopian Orthodox Toledo Church claims to house the real ark in the Church of Our Lady Mary of Zion in Axum, a city in northern Ethiopia. An even more scrupulous claim was proposed by British Israelites that believe the ark is buried underneath the Isle of Taiwan in Ireland. What's it doing in Ireland? Supposedly the origin of the plot of gold at the end of the rainbow legend. Yeah, no kidding. Unfortunately, the etiological community does not hold any of these theories in high esteem, and there is no credible evidence to support their claims. In the end, the final location of the ark remains unknown. Remains known, but only to God, and we may never find out what happened to the ark until the Lord Himself returns. And again, maybe that's just part of, and that's the end of the article, but maybe that's just part of God's plan. Again, we all see it in our daily lives, right? As why, Lord, why am I going through this time? Where are you? Where is that being done? Is it? And His plan is better, and He just maybe does let us know. Again, according to the Catholic Talk Show, they were saying that they probably agree it's more underneath Jerusalem because it's more likely, it's less travel. You basically gotta put it underneath the ground and to the tunnels which they were made. And the thing is, but people might say, well, how about scripture? There's like multiple verses in scripture that claim, hey, they put it in a cave, they put it here, they put it there. Okay, but where is it now? Maybe that is accurate, maybe in the end. They move you around from place to place, but then where is it now? It still doesn't say this is where it is to this day. It's not like, again, in the Old Testament where you're like, this is where it still stays today. It's like, oh, it's not like, this is where the Ark of the Covenant is, you can find it, or if you can get to it, you can find it. It's like, it doesn't say that. So, again, maybe it's true where they put, in the scripture where they had brought it, but again, the final resting place is still no one really still knows. So, and again, what is in the inside? It's the manna, it's the young staff, and that's the 10 Commandments. So, again, basically most of the stuff, wrote down notes is in the article as well. Other kind of claims is that around 700 something, King Manasseh took the ark while he was tearing down temples all over. You know, some would actually think that King David, someone took it from the temple, and King David knew about it, and he didn't mention anything. He was kind of in on it, which is like, okay, that seems really dumb, really not right. Some people think a group of monks took it down the Nile River to Ethiopia. Okay. Many countries have claimed that they took the ark and have it someplace in the homeland, which is like, okay, if you have it, and then prove it, where is it? And again, Hezekiah thought Jerusalem would be taken, so he built tunnels below the city, which is still there today. So again, they are still there, but so it could be underneath the city, or someone could have probably found it after, when they were rebuilding the temple before the Romans came in and annihilated it. Someone could have found it then, and maybe the Romans have it. Maybe they didn't bring it back up before the Romans came and destroyed it after the Babylonians. Maybe, there's just so many questions and just not really enough answers. Again, maybe the Romans destroyed it and didn't find the ark. Maybe at least a lot of people, at least the people I have listened to and looked into, it's probably still underneath Jerusalem. That's what they're betting. Underneath the Temple Mount for safekeeping. But again, no one really knows. And like the article clearly states, we may not know until the end of time. So, again, I'll kind of do this short article a little bit too. On what actually was inside the Ark of the Covenant, like I said. At the time of the writing of the book of Hebrews, the Ark of the Covenant had been missing for over half a millennium, which is why its exact context could be not discussed by St. Paul. Looking at the Old Testament, we see evidence to support the identity of its contents. In the book of Exodus, the Lord instructs Moses to place the Ark, the manna, and the covenant. Moses then told Aaron, take a jar and put a full omer of manna in it. Then place it before the Lord to keep it for your future generations, as the Lord had commanded Moses. Aaron placed in front of the covenant to keep it. Exodus chapter 16, 33, verse 44, Exodus 25, 16, in the ark you are to put the covenant which I give you. Then the Lord said to Moses, put back Aaron's staff in front of the covenant for safekeeping as a sign to the rebellious, so that the grumbling against me may cease and they may not die. Numbers 17:10. At some point, however, both the jar of manna and the sprouted staff of Aaron were removed from the Ark of the Covenant. This was discovered when Solomon had the Ark brought into his newly constructed temple. There was nothing in the ark but the 2 stone tablets which Moses had put there at Horeb, when the Lord made a covenant with the Israelites after they went forth from the land of Egypt. 1 Kings chapter 8, verse 9. Manna was a sweet food given to the Israelites by God to give them substance during the wanderings in the desert for 4 years. For 4 years they ate only manna, which were allowed to harvest enough for 1 day at a time. The exception was for the day preceding the Sabbath, in which they could harvest enough for 2 days' worth. The rod of Aaron placed in the ark was the same used by Moses to part the Red Sea, make the Nile River run with blood, and bring forward the plagues of the frogs and flies and so on. It turned into a snake and swallowed the waters of Pharaoh's magicians to demonstrate the superiority of the Lord. So, again, at some point, both the jar of manna and the sprouted staff were taken out. So now, is it Is it just the Ten Commandments in there? Where the ark could be? Again, if you if you just look at scripture and you just go to this, which a lot of people do, a lot of Protestants do. I mean, even a lot of Catholics say, well, yeah, read scripture and find out. Again, it doesn't say anything with where it's placed or really. I mean, again, is it just the Ten Commandments I was doing it? Again, we might never know until the Lord comes back at the end of time, which could be any second, could be any day, could be any month. So that's why we always gotta be waiting. So again, I'll have all these in the show notes below, and as well, just checking over everything, make sure I didn't leave anything out. So in the little bit of time we have left, I just like to kind of talk about just kind of the new Ark of the Covenant, which again, as for us Catholics and even some non-Catholics, I mean, who know what we believe in is, Mary is the Ark of the New Covenant, and I want to touch on this too a little bit too, is because when this episode comes out, it will be May, and of course May is dedicated to Mary. The whole month is dedicated to the Blessed Virgin Mary. So I think this is kind of important to throw in there as well from the National Catholic Register, a little short. The text says, from this goes back to the readings of Advent again. The angel Gabriel was sent from God to a town in Galilee called Nazareth. Saint Gabriel adds, "Behold, you will conceive in your womb and bear a son, and you shall name him Jesus." Mary says yes to what she appears as a request, not merely a statement of what she shall be. In this regard, we see an important indicator of the respect God has for freedom. Surely He has prepared her and equipped her with every good grace to say yes, but in the end, her freely offered yes is significant. God wills to come through Mary and seeks her yes in the place of Eve's no. See here how God's respect is in direct contrast to the behavior of the devil, who provokes, shouts, and intrudes. He taps and provokes us. In contrast, God whispers and respectfully invites us. He summons us in love and patiently awaits our answer. Gabriel the archangel also says, "Hail, full of grace, the Lord is with you." Mary is silenced by being full of grace, for being filled with grace, there is no room in her for sin. The Greek word kaparion, translated properly as "full of grace," is a perfect passive participle indicating an action completed in the past, still operative now, and continuing onward. Thus, Mary is sinless. She is given this grace by God to be uncorrupted ark of His dwelling. Mary's question is mysterious. How will this be, since I do not know a man? She seems to expect that she will not know a man and remain a virgin. The Pelagium of James, an ancient well-known biography of the Holy Family, gives the backstory to Mary's expedition. That is too lengthy to recount here. It also helps explain why the Church teaches without any ambiguity that Mary is ever virgin. Saint Gabriel instructs, "Do not be afraid, Mary." And in fact, Gabriel says to her that however the details unfold, she is to bear the Son of the Most High God, who will have a kingdom that will never be conquered. Hence, whenever her concerns this all leads to victory. Mary will need this reassurance for there are some difficult days ahead, the crisis of homelessness, Jesus' birth, the flight to Egypt, and surely the cross. This knowledge of ultimate victory is an important reassurance for her to hold and a beautiful reminder for the faithful at Christmas. So again, that's just a little bit about Mary. Again, the Ark of the New Covenant, which we hear about, kind of talked about in the New Testament, as well as just what we hear about today. So again, the Old Covenant and the Old Testament to the New Covenant, and Mary carrying Jesus around, having God in her womb, and being full of grace, is, again, that's the New Covenant, and that's month of May is dedicated to her. So again, going back to Indiana Jones about the Old Covenant, where is it? Who has it? And can we find it? Again, it's just one of those things that you have to just kind of, just come to the fact that we might not never know until the end of time. So there's no use complaining or like getting at each other about trying to, trying to find out where it's at. Because the thing is, you may never know, and that's in God's hands. So anyway, that is it for today. Again, other show notes for the articles that I have done here. Again, I did not really read all of them, or I did not read the whole thing. So look into it for yourself in the show notes below. Also, for a show topic and a speaker topic, CatholicTT@gmail.com. Visit our webpage and give us a 5-star review or wherever you're listening to your podcast. Subscribe and write the review on Google, or review our show too, wherever you get your podcasts. Helps us reach more people that way as well. So, again, until next time, another great episode 150 next week. And we'll talk about how you can tell that Easter is not pagan. So a little excitement there for episode 150 next week. Until then, stay in the state of grace, go to the sacraments. That's a great way to stay in the state of grace, if you don't know that way. And we'll see you next week right here on the show with William Summers signing off. We'll see you again next time, everyone.